All right, here we go. Linear program example number 7. So here it is where we have Snow Bunny operates a clothing store. And the key with this is that they have a seasonality to their business, such that at the beginning of the months, so they're in business here for 6 months, they have very high amount of bills and very low cash receipts. But later on, you're going to see their cash receipts increase dramatically after 6 months and their bills are going to decrease. So we have a couple of things to know. The company likes to maintain a cash balance of at least $20,000 and currently has $100,000 cash on hand. The other thing is that the company can borrow money from a local bank at the following term per rate structure. So they can take a 1-month loan at 1%, a 2-month loan at 1.75%, 3-month loan at 2.49, 4-month and 5-month, etc. When needed, money is borrowed at the end of the month and repaid with interest at the end of the month of which the obligation is due. So for instance, if the company borrows $10,000 for 2 months, beginning in month 3, it will have to pay back $10,000 plus the interest it paid. So if it's a 2-month loan, the interest is 1.75%. And so therefore it'll pay back $10,175 at the end of month 5. All right, so we want to determine the borrowing and cash flow plan that minimizes financing costs while meeting cash needs. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our linear program of how we anticipate doing this. All right, so the first thing we need to think about is to define our x variables. Okay, so we're going to draw something out like this. Okay, so in month 1, all right, again, the problem we're trying to solve here is to minimize the financing costs while meeting cash needs. So when we think of financing costs, we want to minimize the amount we pay in interest, the amount we have to borrow and pay for. All right, so in month 1, we have choices. We can do a 1-month loan. We can do a 2-month loan, 3-month loan, 4-month loan, or a 5-month loan. All right, so we're going to say let x1 be a 1-month loan that we take out in month 1, of which we'll have to pay back at the end of month 2. Let x2 be a 2-month loan that we take out in month 1, that'll be due at the end of month 3. x3 be a 3-month loan, x4 a 4-month loan, and x5 a 5-month loan, all of these which we take out at the starting in month 1. Well, now we have those. We also have a set of variables of month 2. So in month 2, I can take out x6, which is a 1-month loan beginning in month 2, that will be due in month 3, x7, x8, x9. But I can't take out a 5-month loan because that'll be due at the end of the 7th month, and we're only looking at 6 months out. Okay, so that's what we have for month 2. Now month 3 is going to be similar. So month 3, we can take out a 1-month loan, which will be x10, a 2-month loan, x11, and a 3-month loan, which is x12, but we can't take out these other loans. All right, now in month 4, we can take out a 1-month loan, which is x13, a 2-month loan, which is x14, but no other loans at this time. And lastly, in month 5, the only thing we can do in month 5 is take out a 1-month loan, which is x15. Everything else takes us past the 6-month mark. So that there is, let's see if we can get this all on one page. Right here is our definition of our x's. x1, x2, all the way through x15. Okay. Now, what we want to also note is over here off to the right, is depending on how long this loan is, we're going to have an interest rate. So if it's a 1-month loan, the interest rate is 0.01, or what we call 1%. If it's a 2-month loan, it's 0.0175, or 1.75%. 3-month is 0.0249. All right, a 4-month is 0.0322. And lastly, we have a 0.0394 for a 5-month loan. So those are our interest rates that we have. All right, so now we have defined our x's, we have our interest rate. Now let's think of our objective function. So our objective is to minimize the financing cost. Well, let's think about this. Is if I borrow $100,000, that is income to me. When I have to pay back that loan, say a month later, the $100,000 isn't the cost because that's the money I was given. The cost is the interest that I accrue upon that initial loan. So the way we're going to think of our objective cost, and there goes my books. All right, let's see. We get this back up and running. Maybe. There we go. Okay, let's see if that works. All right, so the interest that I accrue for x1 is just the amount of interest I pay for that. For x2, or let's do it right here. So x10 is just that 1%. x11 will be 0.0175 and x12 is 0.0249. All right, so the objective function to minimize my financing cost is going to be 0.01 times x1 plus 0.0175 times x2 plus 0.0249 times x3 plus 0.0322 times x4 plus 0.0394 times x5. Okay, so that's the financing cost of taking out loans the first month. Because if the first month I take out a 1-month loan, it'll be the amount times the interest of the total interest I'll have to pay. If you take a 5-month loan, it'll be the amount times the interest I'll have to pay. All right, so that is the first month. The second month is we're going to add 0.01 times x6, 0.0175 times x7, plus 0.0249 x8, plus 0.0322 x9. All right, now there again, so in the second month, there's no 5-month loan, so that part drops out of our objective function. Okay, the next is going to be for when we're in month 3, I can take out a 1-month loan, which is 0.01 times x10. I can take out a 2-month loan, which is 0.0175 times x11, plus 0.0249 times the amount I take out in a 3-month loan. And in month 3, you see there's no 4 or 5-month loans. Well, in month 4, it's going to be plus 0.01 x13 plus 0.0175 x14, and for the in the 5th month period, 0.01 times x15. And this here is our objective function. This is the financing cost, and we're trying to minimize that, meaning that we're trying to minimize the interest that we pay on the different amounts, different loans that we take. All right, so now we've defined our x's. We have our objective function. Now we want to think of our constraints. So in the problem, let's start with month 1. Okay? In month 1, we have cash on hand. We have $100,000. We have cash receipts, which are the sales that we made of our ski apparel. We have bills, and we can also take out money. All right, so in month 1, what we want is we have our cash on hand plus our receipts, or our sales, minus our bills, plus the amount of loans that we get. All right, so let's think of this real quick. So cash on hand is we have $100,000. Receipts, we had $100,000 in sales, but our bills are $400,000. So right now we're in the hole by negative $200,000. So we're going to need to take out a loan for at least that amount. But the other constraint it says is the company likes to maintain a cash balance of at least $20,000 at the end of each month. So this amount here, cash plus receipt minus bills plus loans, has to be greater than or equal to 20,000. And that's our first constraint. So from this we can tell that this loan amount is going to be 220,000 because we need to cover up the distance of this plus the 20,000, so it needs to be at least 220,000. All right, now let's think about month 2. Okay. Well, in month 2, we have the cash on hand. Well, how much cash do we have on hand? Well, it's the $20,000 we held on to from month 1. So we have 20K cash on hand plus our receipts. And here our receipts are 225,000 minus our bills. And our bills in this case are 500,000. Oh, they're going up. Minus or plus our loans, how much money we borrow from the bank. Okay, so real quick, so when we think of loans here, well, how much loans do we take out in month 1? Well, loans is going to be X1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the amount of loans we take out in month 1. So while I wrote 220,000, what we really want to think about is this is X1 plus X2 plus, I'll keep going, plus X3 plus X4 plus X5. That's the amount of loans we take out in month 1. All right. So in month 2, how much loans do we take out? Well, it's X6 plus X7 plus X8 plus X9. And that's the amount of loans we take out. But we also now have to pay back some loans. So that's going to take cash that we have to give back to the bank. Well, which loans are due the first month? Well, if we go back to our defining our variables, in month 1, X1 is due as a 1-month loan, so that's due at the end of the second month. X2 is a 2-month loan, so that's not due till the third month. So all that we have is we have a repayment such that we have X1 times 1 plus 0.01. Okay, because that's our interest rate, is we have to repay the original amount, which is X1, plus we have to pay back the interest accrued on that. So this is going to be X1 times 1.01. And this has to be greater than or equal to 20,000. Okay, so there we have our second constraint. Okay, so we'll try to do our third constraint in the same window. So we have cash on hand. Okay, so the cash on hand we have is 20K. We have our receipts, cash receipts that we have. And cash receipts in this are going to be 275,000 minus our bills. Okay, and this our bills, man, they keep going up. 600,000 plus our loans. Well, how many loans do we take out in this period? Well, it's just X10 plus X11 plus X12 minus our repayment. Now space, here we go. So our repayment is now we have, so let's go back here. In month 3, I need to pay back month 2, the 1-month loan that I took out in month 2, and I also have to pay back the 2-month loan that I took out in month 1. All right. So the repayment is X2 times 1 plus 0.0175 plus X6 times 1 plus 0.01. And that has to be greater than or equal to 20,000. And we're going to continue this process. Okay, so we'll write it out so you do see it. All right, it's going to get a little messy, so hopefully you'll be able to see it all. Okay, so month 4, okay, we have cash on hand, which again is 20K, plus our receipts. And here are receipts. Now we're starting to roll. 350K minus our bills. Here our bills are only 300,000. Okay, plus our loans. Well, our loan amount in month 4 is just X13 plus X14 minus our repayment. and that has to be greater than or equal to 20K. Okay, well, let's see what our repayment is. So we're seeing what do we have to pay back in the month 4. So in month 4, so think of this as we're going up a diagonal, is we have to pay back the 3-month loan we took out in month 1, 2-month loan we took out in month 2, and a 1-month loan we took out in month 3. All right, so the repayment is going to be x3 times 1.01 plus x7 times 1.0175 plus, oh, I'm sorry, x3 is not 1.01. x3 is the 3-month interest rate, which will be 1.0249. And then our x10, which is our 1 month, is going to be 1.01. So these are the amounts for our repayment there in month 4. We're getting close now. All right. Month 5. Cash on hand, which is 20K, plus our receipts. So our receipts in month 5 are 475,000. Okay, minus our bills. Our bills now are starting to decrease even more. I'm happy. 200,000. Plus the loans that we take out. Well, how much loans do we take out in month 5? Well, that's just X15. Minus our repayment. Okay, so let's go back here. It's going to be the diagonal. So it's going to be in month 1, if we take out a 4-month loan, that's what we do it in month 5. So it'll be X4, X8, X11, and X13. Okay, so our repayment needs to be greater than or equal to 20K. And so what is our repayment amount? Okay, so X4 was a 4-month loan, and the interest rate on a 4-month loan is 3.22% plus X8, which is 1.0249 plus X11, which was a 1.0175 plus X13, which is 1.01. All right, so that's our repayment. All right, let's keep going. Last month. All right, month 5, or month 6 now. Okay, there's our 6. All right, so we have cash on hand. Okay, cash on hand is 20K from the previous month, plus our receipts. Now we're rolling. Big time. Our receipts are 625 large. Minus our bills. Finally got those under control. We're only at 100K. Plus our loans. But how many loans do we actually take out in month 6? Well, we don't take any. So that's 0. But we do have to pay back a bunch of loans. Okay. Minus our repayment. To be greater than or equal to 20K. Now, real quick to point out is all these other months, we're going to be equal to 20,000 because we want to take out as little loans as possible. But this last month, if we end up with more than 20,000, we're okay. So we want to make sure that the constraints are greater than or equal to 20,000. All right, so our repayment. Okay, so we're going back to this matrix. We'll have X5 is a 5-month loan, X9 is a 4-month loan, X12 is a 3-month loan, X14 is a 2-month, and X15 is 1 month. All right, so the way we write that, so repayments is going to be X5 times the interest rate on a 5-month loan, 1.0394, plus X9 times 1.0322, plus X12, 1.0249, plus X14, 1.0175, plus X15, 1.01 is greater or equal to, oh, we have that, greater or equal to 20. So there we have it. All right, we have our linear program. So we can zoom out just a little. See, take out some of these books so we can get our light right. And there is our constraints for this linear program. You can hit pause, maybe catch it all. So our overall linear program is defining our x's, defining our objective function, and then going through and setting up our constraints. Now, the goal I have for you to learn from this example isn't so much of how to set this exact problem up, but to go through and take a challenging problem, which you may not have known the answer to, so this problem right here, and at start, you don't know exactly how to do it, but to take it step by step and see if you can solve it. So that was a fun 20 minutes we had together. Just think about when we do this out in Solver.